My name is Victor. Sometimes, it only takes a moment and a single decision to destroy everything you thought was unshakable. That moment came for me when my wife was invited to her younger sister's bachelorette party. Although it seemed harmless, the events that unfolded during the trip led to a complete breakdown of our relationship. I'll tell you the whole story, starting from the beginning. Sophia and I got married 2 years ago. Although we were no longer considered newlyweds, we still had to build and strengthen our life as partners. Like any other couple, our marriage had its ups and downs. We had many wonderful moments together, and I always knew I could rely on her. We were comfortable together because our relationship was built on trust. But even the strongest foundations can weaken, and the first signs of this are often just small cracks. I noticed pretty quickly that Sophia was drinking alcohol. A few sips were enough to change her behavior significantly. She knew it too, and we talked about those evenings several times. There were apologies, promises, and tears. Eventually, she realized that alcohol wasn't good for her, and we decided together that she shouldn't drink at all. It became an unspoken rule, especially after we got married. Marriage changed our lives. We both settled into a simpler, more organized routine. Soon, we stopped going to loud parties and waking up with hangovers, and started looking for something healthier. We focused on starting a family, so we tried to change some things to help us conceive. Sophia shared our goal, and we stuck to our plan. When Sophia told me she was pregnant a month later, I was incredibly happy. You felt like you would always remember her words and how happy she was, and how her eyes sparkled with surprise. Just a few days after she told me about her engagement, her sister invited her to a bachelorette party in Miami. In fact, her sister had always been a bold, fun, and straightforward person. Of course, I wasn't entirely sure if I should go on the trip. I felt uncomfortable going with a group of women I didn't know well. I told Sophia right away, "I won't be able to look out for you like I used to. I always get very nervous in situations like this, and in this case, I just can't help but worry because you're expecting a baby." I noticed that Leah might feel awkward and uncomfortable at such an event, but she said it would be a good trip for the girls, explained that she would tell everyone about her pregnancy, and promised she wouldn't drink. She told me not to worry, and I believed her right away. After that, I helped her get ready by folding her clothes while she chose which shoes to wear. I drove my sister to the airport, and we kissed goodbye, wishing her strength and safety. At home, I focused on other things so as not to spoil my mood. At that moment, I truly believed that everything would be fine. 3 days after she left, I drove to the airport to pick her up. Although she looked tired, she smiled when she walked through the gate. She came up to me, kissed me on the cheek, and hugged me tightly. On the way home, she happily and in detail told me everything that had happened. She told me how much she had enjoyed the evening, noting the fun atmosphere, the nice music, and the time she had spent with her sister. She described the whole trip as innocent fun, and I thought she was right. But after a few days, I felt myself emotionally distancing myself from Sophia, even when we were together. Any attempts to get closer ended with her preferring to be alone or saying she was tired. At first, I thought her unusual behavior was caused by the main symptoms of pregnancy, hormonal changes and fatigue. She always responded that she was very tired. I didn't ask any unnecessary questions, as I didn't want to behave inappropriately as a husband toward my confused wife. Shortly after Sophia returned, we began preparing for her sister's wedding, which was scheduled for the following weekend. After shopping, I returned home and immediately noticed that an old friend had sent me a message. My translation: "I watched the video. Everyone thought it wouldn't work. I hope you're coping." When I first saw the message, I was stunned and didn't quite understand it. What video? After a while, I called him to ask for an explanation. It was obvious that he was hesitant and seemed apologetic when he answered. He admitted that he didn't think I had seen the film and asked if he could send it to me, warning me to be prepared. Just a few minutes later, the video arrived on my phone. The whole clip was less than a minute long, but I watched it for what seemed like an eternity. The image was not very clear and of poor quality, as it was filmed on a phone. Her poor acting didn't prevent me from recognizing her immediately. She was wearing a tight dress, looked drunk, and was behaving without any inhibitions. In the video, she leaned in to kiss a shirtless man who appeared to be a stripper or bartender, while other women cheered around her. She sat down on his lap, wrapped her arms around his neck, and leaned in to say something to him. I couldn't understand what she said, and I didn't care. I watched the clip 3 times, not because I wanted to, but to make sure I noticed all the details. Even so, she was there, and she was clearly drunk. Just a few weeks ago, this woman promised me she would never drink alcohol, especially after she got pregnant. The same woman who said this was just a girl's trip and that she would be responsible this time. I sat on the couch, my mind racing. At first, I wasn't upset about the betrayal. I was mostly worried about the baby. Things like drinking, stress, and irresponsible behavior contradicted what she had been telling everyone about being a good mother. Sophia acted normal when she got home. I didn't say much today and spent my time thinking things over. I began to understand why she had become so distant. In the evening, as I continued my research online, I realized that the video could have been seen by more than just the people we invited. One of the party guests posted a photo on social media. Whether it was a poorly thought-out joke, an attempt to get attention, or just ignorance, the event quickly gained popularity. After it was picked up by a well-known content creator from Manosphere, they made a reaction video mocking the girl's behavior and advising men to stay away from people like them. I found out about the video a week after it started circulating. Sophia and I ended up watching the movie in the living room after dinner. When she walked in, drying her hands, she probably thought we were just going to chat. I sat with my hands in my lap and stared at the floor for a while before looking up at her. "Do you want to say anything about Miami?" I asked. Her expression changed quickly as she considered her options. "Excuse me?" she said defensively. I realized she wasn't going to admit anything unless I pressed her. I took my phone out of my pocket, turned on the video, and handed it to her. "Look," I said. I watched her reaction to the video. Her eyes widened, and a look of panic appeared on her face. "It looked worse than it was," she said, and handed me back my phone. "I did it because he made me," she emphasized, breathing heavily. I said, "Of course. You were drunk when you promised you'd never drink again. You're pregnant. You're married. And now I'm watching you dance with another man in front of a group of people. Do you understand how bad this is?" I turned away and slowly shook my head. He was a terrible guy she fell in love with because she had never even heard of him before. God knows what happened behind the scenes. Could she understand the whole story from this video? Perhaps these were just the fragments that the author thought would not hurt the viewers. She cried, fell to her knees, and tried to convince me, holding my hand. I didn't cheat on him with this guy. I swear on everything I hold dear. It was a sweet kiss. But that's all it was. It became difficult for me to believe her because as the conversation progressed, she began to change her story. At first, she said she didn't recognize the man at all. Later, she openly stated that she probably saw the bartender. Then she said that the girl had persuaded her to kiss him, but didn't mention that it included dancing on his lap. It seemed to me that what I was hearing was sometimes unclear or seemed like an attempt to erase certain details. No matter how many versions of the story I heard, it still seemed like a bunch of excuses to me, and I couldn't figure out how honest she was being. I knew I wouldn't be able to sleep next to her that night. I grabbed a pillow and blanket and quietly went to the guest room. My sister stayed in the bedroom crying, and even her sobs coming from the other room didn't make me go check on her. She whispered, "I'm sorry," and said, "Victor, it was a mistake," while knocking on the door, but nothing could comfort me. I didn't sleep that night, lying awake and staring at the ceiling, thinking about disturbing things. Was this the first time something like this had ever happened? Was it something she did regularly and I just hadn't noticed? What worried me most was that what happened in the video could be much more serious than it appeared. I couldn't shake the feeling that something worse was coming. We didn't go to her sister's wedding. Without saying a word, we both agreed that we couldn't pretend that everything was fine and that there was nothing we could do. The thought of having to go to the event, smile, and talk to people who had seen the video made me want to run away. Neither of us wanted to go, and Sophia understood that her actions had serious consequences. In the weeks that followed, my family and I tried therapy. I wasn't sure, but part of me thought I had found something that could be saved. During the sessions, Sophia cried because she was ashamed and hated herself for destroying something good. I listened to her without showing any emotion. I was no longer close to her. Andy and Sophia were diagnosed with ovarian cancer, and they learned that Sophia had just lost the baby. After the doctor confirmed the news, she began to cry uncontrollably. I didn't know what to do next. I was very sad, although I had long since begun to mourn not only our unborn child, but also our marriage. The miscarriage felt like the last steps before everything froze. Shortly after that, I filed for divorce. Money, property, or other people's opinions didn't matter to me. I wanted out. Every time I closed my eyes, that video haunted me. I couldn't ignore it and didn't allow myself to believe that things could go back to the way they were. My heart had stopped, and that meant I couldn't go back. It's been a long time since then, but I still imagine how things could have been different. I think about what our relationship would have been like if she hadn't gone to that party. Would we have loved our child if he had been born? Would we have been happy in our marriage after all these years? These thoughts pop into my head way more often than I want to admit. At the same time, I understand that there is no point in dwelling on the past. What's done is done, and I've come to terms with that. There are times when you have to walk away, even if it hurts. In conclusion, I would like to ask you a question. If you were in my place, how would you handle this situation? Would you forgive your friend or break off the friendship? Do you think you would try to repair the relationship, or do you agree that it was better to end it? I am interested in your opinion, because your advice could help someone else make their life more bearable.